Okay. Thank you so much for coming today. You know, this is a very historic day for this historic old farm because, as you can see, you're sitting next to an old barn which housed cows, and you're sitting next to an old silo which is decrepit and deteriorating. And this was one of the largest and productive dairy farms in the state through my childhood. And it's such a pleasure today to transform it into a place where the food is the message, to restore people's health and the health of the environment, and you're helping us to do that through the delivery of the message that whole plant nutrition is the medicine for all of us. So thank you so much for coming here. Okay, so we wanted to put this panel on for you to have a lively discussion, interactive, about how one can become well. And what we've done is we've assembled our Ethos primary care staff. So for those of you who don't know, I think you probably know, I'm a physician. My name is Dr. Ron Weiss, and my medical practice is in that little brown house surrounded by the growing fields. And here, assembled before us, is our staff. We have Asha Gala, who is Lifestyle Medical Director. We have Anthony Masiello, all-around plant-based superstar and coach. We have Sarah Zayed, who is my assistant in taking care of patients and my scribe. And a future doctor by next year. We have Wendy Yergosky, the Renaissance woman who knows everything about everything on a farm. She is a superb lifestyle coach. I'm going to skip over that young lady for a second to tell you about Karina, who is a Ruby certified fantastic chef and lifestyle coach. Okay. So the young lady we have to our left is Sharon Sullivan, and we're going to find out about her in a little bit. But before we do that, let me tell you a little bit about lifestyle medicine. Oh, okay. I've been informed by my scribe, there's a breaking announcement, that if any of you want to share photos on social media so that we can all see them, we use the hashtag Ethos Farm Days? Yes. Okay. All right. So, you know, there's a lot of confusion out there about labels, about what things are, like what is a vegan or plant-based or paleo or keto. And similarly, when you talk about the practice of medicine, there's kind of also a lot of confusion around terminology. Some people think that I'm an integrative doctor or alternative medicine doctor or a functional medicine doctor, or they know I don't prescribe drugs very often. They know that. There's some say I'm a plant-based doctor, but what we like to consider ourselves here, we like to consider ourselves as lifestyle medicine practice. And that is a new term which kind of has come up, I would say, in the last couple of years. And it is actually a recognized discipline now. I am board certified in that discipline. There are now boards that doctors can take to be certified, just like you can in cardiology and gastroenterology and rheumatology. So we are certified in lifestyle medicine. So what is this lifestyle medicine? Lifestyle medicine deals with the living aspects of human beings, because people who adhere to this discipline believe that that human health does not come in bottles of pills or artificial things. It really is delivered by the way we live our lives. So at Ethos Primary Care, we turn our attention to the lives of our patients. We examine them, and we help them to understand and to adopt new behaviors that are healthy to bring them to an optimal level of health. So I think that's how I can best describe it. So there are 5 zones in this lifestyle world of medicine. The most important and most powerful one, but by no means the only one, is nutrition. And what kind of nutrition? It is the nutrition of whole plant foods. The second zone or sector is fitness. The third zone is emotional health, mindset, or connection, emotional connection. The fourth zone is the realm of sleep. And the fifth zone, which we kind of made up, maybe you won't find it in books, but we think it's so important here that we gave it its own zone. It is the human microbiome. And the reason why that is, does everyone know what a microbiome is? Okay, for those of us who are not familiar, the microbiome is the invisible world that controls our health. When I started off, I used to think that plants controlled our health. I thought, oh, plants are magic. There's something in them. Their molecules help to, beat back cancer and clean out our arteries. And doesn't really work like that. To some degree, that's true because plants work through their plant chemicals to remediate our problems to some degree. But the overwhelming degree by which plants act is plants are the feedstock for trillions of invisible bacteria and microorganisms in our gut. And then, depending on what we feed those microorganisms, they control our health. So we consider the human microbiome as that fifth sector. So now that we all understand, have a better idea of what we do, we're going to introduce you to a superstar, Sharon Sullivan. She is one of our patients. She's been with us for a couple of years. And I'm going to pass the microphone to Sharon to can you describe to us your professional career, what you've done over your life?
I'm a nurse, so I've worked intensive care for probably 30 years of it. Did some visiting nursing. I also, closer, got it. Okay, and I also, in the end, I was teaching women to become certified nurses' aides. And I worked from the time I was 18 until I was 75. And I retired at 75. I did have 3 years off there to have a few children. And that was it. That's my whole career.
Okay, so Sharon, this whole career in the healing arts brought you to you're now currently, 54?
Don't I wish. 77.
Okay, 77. Okay. And just FYI, the reason why you see a cane is because, we'll get to that.
Okay.
Sharon had her knee replaced a few weeks ago. We'll find out why. Okay. But 77 years young. So when you came to us a couple of years ago, tell us what was going through your mind and why did you come here? What preceded your first visit here?
Okay. In 2016, in June, I was in a wheelchair to go to the airport to take a tour. That year in December, we went to Longwood Gardens for Christmas display, and I had a nice view of everybody's rear end. I couldn't see the flowers or any of that. And in between time, I had had my knee injected, both knees injected. I also had gone on a very nasty drug for some atrial fib that I have, and it goes through the liver. Okay, that's how it's excreted. It also wrecks the liver, the thyroid, and gives you pulmonary fibrosis. And I just had every other drug I was on, my cholesterol, my statin, my low blood pressure drug. I had 6 diabetic meds a day. and the diabetes wasn't doing anything, where the sugars were just getting higher and higher. So I had sort of been stalking Dr. Weiss online for about a year probably, and I said, okay, I'm just gonna bite the bullet, I'm gonna go and see what this is all about.
Okay. So we had the great pleasure of meeting you, and when you came in, we identified 4 major areas that you needed assistance for. So why don't we talk a little bit about each of them? Weight was an issue for you, and can you just give us a few sentences on your history of weight?
My history of weight was I've tried everything out there, from Weight Watchers to Atkins to OptiFast. I tried them all and failed at all of them. When I came here and I started, I'm going to tell you the weight because I'm not shy. I weighed, not Dr. Weiss's scale was nice to me. It weighed me at 292, but in January 1st of that year, I was 299.4, real close to that magic 300 mark. So, and I did not come here, by the way, to lose weight. That was not in my plan. My plan was to clean out that liver.
So, because of the amiodarone. So
Correct.
Amiodarone is a very toxic drug, and it was given to Sharon to control her atrial fibrillation, which is our second problem. The great worry about amiodarone is without warning and arbitrarily, and we don't know why, and we don't know who it's going to affect, it can permanently damage and scar your lungs, and once that happens, it's not reversible and you can't breathe. It can take away your eyesight. Once that happens, you can't see. And once we begin to notice the damage, can't be reversed. So Sharon has been on pins and needles to try and get off that drug. And your cardiologist told you, when could you get off that drug?
Another 30 pounds down.
So
He's going to do a trial, and I'm like really excited about that.
So he would want you to lose 100 pounds in total. So we'll get to the weight in a second, but so Sharon's goal was to lose 100 pounds before the cardiologist would even think of removing the drug to see if her heart was in good enough shape to contain this irregular heartbeat. And meantime, you have to take a blood thinner, right, every day to prevent blood clots from forming to cause a stroke because of the atrial fibrillation. So it's a complicated problem. So, so weight was important. Tell us what has happened with your weight since you came here.
Okay. Well, my weight has gone down immediately. Right in the beginning, the weight just went whoomp. Now, I wish I could tell you it was still going whoomp, but it's not. I'm sort of chipping away at it like concrete right now. But it's the way it is. And, you know, I just spent like the last few weeks, you know, with the leg up. I'm not doing anything, not allowed to go to the Y, not allowed to do anything, go to physical therapy. Well, they're only working the leg. The rest of me has sort of been lying around. So this past week, I finally got to go back to the Y, so we'll get there.
Yeah. So Sharon's had an amazing run with the weight loss, and it did come off easily at the beginning, but it's a slower process now. We're working on a couple of different methods to help get her there, and we will. And one of them is helping her to become more mobile. So that brings us to your knees. So when Sharon came to us, she was in severe pain all over from a life, well, decades of osteoarthritis. Mm-hmm. Do you want to tell us about what hurt you, where it was, and what happened when you changed your diets to a whole plant diet?
Okay, my feet hurt, my ankles hurt, my knees hurt, the hips were okay, my hands hurt, my wrists hurt, my shoulders were okay. So I came and went on this whole food plant-based program, and about a month later, I think it was my 30-day, or maybe it was another 30 days, but Dr. Weiss leaned over, he says, "Oh, how are your knees?" And I went, "Oh, they don't hurt." It was like magic. They don't hurt anymore. So that's really, and I have to tell you, it's 300 pounds. I would never have had this surgery. This was the left one was the worst. So I would never have done it at that weight, because I know I'm a nurse, right?
So
I know what happens.
If your knees don't hurt, why did you have to have the knee replaced?
Oh, because I was unstable. Okay, I couldn't trust it, and it had collapsed on me twice, And when it collapses, you go down, you know. When I go down, I have trouble getting up. I'm old. So anyway, but that's why. So I had an MRI done. The doctor looked at it. The orthopedic says, "How are you walking on this thing?" I said, "It doesn't hurt," you know. So, and it's hard to make that decision, by the way, to have the knee replacement done if it doesn't hurt. I'd do it again. It was easy.
So most people, you know, the joint replacement business is a big business for orthopedics in this country. And most people have their knees or hips replaced when they wear out because of severe pain. Most of them do not have them replaced because of instability. And one of the amazing attributes of a whole plant foods diet is it's almost magic-like potential and abilities to clear osteoarthritis pain in people who've had it for years. We have many people who come in here with an appointment for a knee replacement, and they're on the surgery schedule, or a hip replacement. And the vast majority of them cancel their appointment after a few weeks because their pain is gone. So I'm glad to hear that happened to you. Unfortunately, or fortunately, we got the knee replaced just to lend stability now to your gait. Okay. Can we talk a little bit about your diabetes? What was going on with the diabetes before, and how about now?
Okay. So when I got here, do you guys know what an A1C is? That's the measure, 3-month measure, look back at diabetes. And if you're diabetic, they want it under 7. Well, mine was 8-something when I got here. And that was on 6 pills a day, watching my diet. I mean, I wasn't, you know, out there having Dairy Queen and eating cake and pies. I was really watching, you know, what I was eating. But I was eating meat, a lot of meat. I love meat. But anyway, so I was doing that, and that just all, I guess, contributed to the inflammation in my body, which I've learned about since then. So I came here, and immediately Dr. Weiss took me off all my meds, and I thought, oh, this ought to be interesting, you know. But I will tell you, it's an incentive to stay whole food plant-based because you don't want that sugar to go up. Within 3 months, the A1C started to come down, and my last A1C, I believe, was 6.3. 6.3. So that makes me pre-diabetic, guys. So I'm happy with that, but I want to see that under 6. I want to see that A1C at 5.8, 5.6, 5.3. I don't know if it goes any lower than that.
And we believe we'll definitely get there with more weight loss, and as Sharon becomes more physically active with her new knee, we'll be able to get down there. So that would be very exciting for us.
That's where I'm going.
So I think what we'd like to talk about a little bit is the philosophy that we share with you and how our team tries to instill a successful pathway in our patients. So and in order to talk about that, I want to introduce you guys to something called the trans-theoretical model of behavior change. So, what the heck does that mean? Well, so when someone is trying to change their behavior as it pertains to health, there are 5 levels that any given person will find themselves at. And you know, when someone is trying to become healthy, it's hard to change your behavior. It's very easy to go to a doctor and get a prescription and open up a bottle of pills. It really takes no effort. But in lifestyle medicine, the 99% of the effort is coming from the patient. It's not coming from the doctor. So we're going to discuss that process a little bit here. And to begin to understand it, what you have to understand is this trans-theoretical model. So when patients come to us, we look at them and we place them at a stage in this model. There are 5 levels or stages to this model. The first model is called pre-contemplative. The second is contemplative. The third up is called preparation. The fourth is action. The fifth is sustaining. At that lowest model, at the lowest level, the pre-contemplative, that's a person who comes to us, and it wasn't Sharon that kind of person would come in and say, what do you mean, drinking milk is not good for you, or eating cheese or chicken or a salmon, I thought that was good. So the person has not been exposed yet or thought about the kinds of things we practice in order to bring about good health. The second level would be someone who has been exposed to these ideas, like maybe they saw forks over knives, and they said, that is interesting. Maybe I should change the way I'm living. And they're thinking about it. The third level up, more advanced level, is preparation. That means after thinking about it for a while, you've come to a decision point, this crystalline moment when you say, I'm going to do this.
Thank you.
That was Sharon when she came to us. The fourth level is doing it. It's action. The fifth level, keep on doing it for the rest of your life. Guess what the toughest level is?
Fifth one.
5. It is so hard to do. So hard. And that's what we actually spend most of our time helping the patients with, trying to figure out how we can help them keep on keeping on. So I would like to now bring in some of our superstar lifestyle people to talk about this and to intercalate it with Sharon's experience. So we think that there are 4 things that we specifically focus on in our practice to really bring that sustaining effort to a high level. And the first thing that we focus on is the education of the patient. Asha Gala, you have constructed our beautiful A Year of Mindful Living monthly classes. Can you talk about that?
Sure. Thank you. My own personal journey of education, and it's continuously towards this plant-based journey, has been more than 20 years. Patients to give the correct information, because Dr. Weiss has read through those articles, and we've experienced, we work with patients. So I think that giving them that knowledge is what the education classes, we cover topics, there are various topics. I think one of them we had today. And I think that's the big success for our patients, and that tool is what they carry around.
Now, Sharon, what role do you think knowing this information, this evidence, what does it do for you as a patient in helping you to keep going?
The evidence is overwhelming as far as I'm concerned. So each of the classes have been interesting. Now, one of my favorites, frankly, was eating out. Got to go for the food, right? And we went to dinner, and Asha ordered her plate, and then she got a container and put half of it in there. And the other person was there. She went safe. She ordered a salad. The other one went safe and ordered what Asha had. Okay. And there I'm sitting there in this place. They had black bean burgers. I never had a black bean burger in my life. And I thought, okay, so I said to Asha, can I have a black bean burger? She goes, sure, try it. So I made sure I asked them to grill it on the side of the grill where the rest of the stuff wasn't grilled. But I got my black bean burger, and I ate it, and I liked it. Right? So it's those kind of things. The classes, each class that I've attended has had a cooking component to it. So how do you use collards? Not one of my favorite things, but Asha did a class and put, was it mung beans? How do you say it? Mung beans in it. It was good, So I've learned that kind of thing. I mean, I had 53 years of marriage where I was cooking meat, potatoes, and a veggie, and then having some sort of dessert. And now, we've completely changed the way we eat. So that was the classes. There's also the exercise class. I thought, I'm not going to get anything out of that, right? I mean, I know how to exercise. Oh, no, there was a lot of really good information in that class, and every class I've attended.
Wonderful. Oh, you can keep it for a little while.
Thank you.
So we always stress education to every single patient visit, right?
Yes.
Sarah.
Yes.
How do you educate the patients with the evidence?
So during the patient visit, there's a number of things we do. Like Dr. Weiss said, one of the most important things is helping the patient to sustain, but also we kind of have to perform some hand-holding throughout the entire journey. And one thing we always tell our patients is that we're not here to wag our fingers at you. We're here to educate you and empower you to hold your health in your hands. So part of our visit is that we create this care plan for a patient where we include all the evidence, and the patient has access to it, and at any time they can ask us questions. And through that, as they become more knowledgeable, they come to realize for themselves that this is the right pathway for them. And I think, Sharon, if you could speak to how the evidence that we provided helped you.
Sure. When I get my care plan after every visit, there's a care plan developed. So you look at the care plan, and it'll say, watch such and such video, read this article, go online and check this out. So those are all like educational tools for me to use. Also, I don't know if you got to this, but Dr. Weiss, when you go in to see him, he has a very unique way of saying, gee, why do you think that happened? Which makes you have to think about what you're doing, why you're doing it, and how you're doing it. And it doesn't have to be anything bad. It could be something good. Oh, you lost 5 pounds this month. Oh, why do you think that happened? So, and then, that kind of thing.
I learned that from our coaches.
Did you? Yeah.
That's a special technique.
That is a
That's
technique.
a coaching technique.
Yes, it
We'll
is.
talk about that in a minute.
Okay.
And I just wanted to say really quickly, I think that's one of the special things about Dr. Weiss in our office is that component of having the patient develop their own associations and come to their own conclusions. Because in order to restructure your entire life around what you eat, you really have to change what you associate food with and what you think of as healthy and unhealthy. And I think you have really been successfully able to do that with, Dr. Weiss and the coach's help.
Thank you so much. Okay, so we talked about, I introduced the term coach, right? Like most of us know this as far as like an athletic coach, like you're on a football team coach. But there's a new idea in the world of healthcare, and that is to have a coach, okay? So what is this coach thing about? When doctors go to medical school and go through their medical training, they are trained to be experts. I am the expert. You are coming to me, and you are in need, and I will deliver to you what I think you need, and I will tell you and give you a directive on how to do it, and you will do it, right? That's the dynamic, kind of, between, and it, for good doctors, there's not a level of arrogance that is thrown into the mix. It's more perhaps genteel. But that's the basic dynamic that exists between the relationship of a conventional doctor, or historically between a doctor and patient. But these days, because a patient who's involved in the lifestyle pursuit has to do all the work, that dynamic does not work out so well for the patient. It's okay if I'm the expert, I'm telling you, you take this bottle of pills. But if you're the person who has to do all the work, it may not work that well. So in order to be an effective lifestyle physician, you have to sort of enable the patient a little bit more to, in an open-ended manner, to come to their own conclusions and to think about things, and then to get to that level, which level that we talked about, the level of preparation, right? Or where you say, okay, I'm gonna grab the brass ring. I'm going to do this. Because it takes work from the patient. So our wonderful health coaches, now Wendy, you were the health coach. Oh, Karina was the health coach. We have 2 wonderful health coaches, lifestyle health coaches, Wendy and Karina. And so can you speak to what you think your role is in that coaching realm? And then maybe, Karina, you can talk about your relationship with Sharon and what you help her to do.
So I assist people usually through the first 30 days, and this is very crucial to make sure that people are on the right path of doing exactly what Dr. Weiss told them to do. And that could be the food, but beyond the food, it's also the homework that's given, because that homework really helps to separate out those that are really truly willing to do the work, because sometimes people aren't. They just want to take the pill, but that's not where we're going. We keep wanting them to push themselves a little bit further and a little bit further. Okay, you didn't get there on the first week. We'll get there on week 2. You don't like this? Let's pair it with this. And how are we going to make it work for them? So we just keep getting people to work for themselves, learn more for themselves to get to their ultimate goals, reminding them of their goals and their successes, because their successes can be very small in the beginning and people forget them in an instant. So we want them to journal them and keep them, so when there is a bad day or a high stress level, they can look back at their successes and go, I can do this. I've got it. No problems.
Wonderful.
Well, as you can already see, Sharon is an absolute pleasure, and she's very, very funny and very knowledgeable. So it was really, I was really honored to be able to work with her after the 30 days and for the rest of that year. For me, the most important thing is to establish the coaching relationship. If I can take some time and really listen to someone and try to get to know what their personal motivations are, understand their level of knowledge, where they'd like to go, that is that is in the beginning of the trans-theoretical model. That's really critical if we want to see success. They have to trust us as a team and know that we're with them, even if they're telling us something that is a difficulty, right? So they have to know that it's safe. So there's that level that comes in very early, hopefully, building the coaching relationship, and then also. There's assessing what the patient knows and where they want to be. And then in between that is the gap. And that is where the art of coaching really comes through, in my opinion. And with Sharon, she was very, very, very motivated. And the types of things that she had just great questions. Every weekly or bi-weekly call, she would have her list of questions, and she was honest and open about where the struggles were. This week, I'm struggling with getting a lot of my shopping done in time for a special event that we're having, and I need to feed 40 people, and I used to feed them this, but I don't want to do that anymore. So we would start right there, and we would start to break down the event, what she wanted to do, what she was comfortable cooking, where we could find the recipes, what needed to be adapted. And she's a fantastic cook, but she had just been cooking in a very different style, the one that our greater culture supports, and we were asking her to make so very many changes. So to try to make that easier, we would work with each particular issue or challenge, right, or opportunity as it came up. And then we would take the next challenge. Maybe it was a family vacation. And now what do we do? Because we'll be with people who have different ways of eating, but she's very motivated to stay on her plan. So we talk about where she can shop, what she can bring in, things she can freeze maybe and bring them with her. We'd go through recipes and we would work, right, kind of painstakingly to find things that could be found outside that were okay, things that other people would like so she could share a meal. And I would always remind her that she was the model in her family. So she wasn't just helping herself, but she was probably saving her husband's life. And then when people watch you take such a courageous and bold approach to how you want to live when there's so much distraction, it's really, really beautiful for them to see, and they begin to then make those changes as well. So you never know whose life you're touching when you walk in with something that is different. And it takes courage, nothing but raw courage. And I think that that's where, for me anyway, that is the part I enjoy the most, to just sort of be that support and to work Sharon through the hard points. And again, she most of the time she really made it look easy, but there were a lot of changes. We asked for a lot more vegetables that most people have been eating before. We asked people to eat a lot more greens than they're used to. We asked them to step away from some foods that have been a tremendous comfort to them in their lives. So we have to be there. We have to be there. So Did I miss anything? Oh, okay.
Would you like to add anything?
It was the food. Oops, I'm not on. I got it? Okay. It was the food. We have guests frequently. We have a large family. So it was the food and what I was serving. And I will say there were times I served meat to my guest. I just didn't eat it. But everything else was stuff that I could eat. I remember one instance we were doing an Irish-based meal for my husband's family. And at their request, they wanted Irish seafood chowder. I can't eat seafood chowder. So how am I going to eat something that looks like seafood chowder? So I don't want to put my diet on the way I eat on everybody, especially when I know what I'm going to get back. So Karina says, well, why not a potato leek soup? Aha, potato leek soup. It worked fine. Today, the results of that, so it's been 2 years and a couple of months. I have one daughter who's completely whole food plant-based, and I have another daughter and that daughter doesn't have a family. The other daughter she serves 3 nights a week. They serve a whole food plant-based meal. Now, it's not 100%, but it's sure a lot better than what they were eating before. So it happens, and I have been very honest. When I go to visit family in North Carolina, I have a daughter-in-law from El Salvador. She makes the best black bean and rice soup you've ever tasted. You just need that. Once they know how I eat, nobody has given me pushback. And sometimes I read online about these, my mother-in-law does this. No, my family has been 100%. And when they see the results, they're even better.
Wonderful. Okay. We have I just want to ask Asha, who is our lifestyle director, one question. Asha, once you've gotten to that top level, okay, once you're standing on top of the mountain and you're all healthy and you have no problems and no pains and, do you need a health coach? Is there a role for the health coach in somebody who is mastered a high level of living?
I think there is a role for that because as you continue your journey, whichever stage you are, when you want to get to the higher level, if you have somebody who's ready to hold your hand like a good lifestyle coach, you will not feel alone because there are moments that it's not, the world out there is not what we are used to living. And I think Anthony can share a lot more also about that.
Hi. I just want to ask really quickly, who's been to our potlucks that are held right here on the farm? Look around, everybody. Hold your hands up high. Right? The community is out there. And it's an important component. We know that to stay going, you need 3 things. You need to be motivated to continue. You need to have the education, so you have to know what to do. And the third part, what's the third part? Yeah.
I think there are 9 parts.
Maybe there are a lot of parts. A big part, no, what happened is community spans all of these, right? When we come here every month, we learn from each other. We continue that education ongoing. And it can be very simple things like, oh, what's in this dish? How did you do that? I haven't had something like that. How'd you get to taste creamy? There's no dairy, of course, in there. Oh, there's not even any nuts in there. Oh, you use white beans? How did you do that, right? So these kind of conversations that helps us to continue to evolve our learning and to continue going. And we do it in a really fun way here at these potlucks because there's no stage, although the stage is pretty nice. But, it's just everyone's sitting next to each other. You happen to sit whoever you sit with. And for once a month, we get to also feel very normal. I mean, how many people go out to eat with people who aren't eating whole food plant-based? And how many times do you have to explain to them that you're okay and that you're getting enough of this or that and that
Anthony, where do you get your protein from?
I want to ask Dr. Clapper. The plants. So it's also another place to come and feel normal. And I don't want to underestimate that because it really resets the stuff that we have going on in our brains. Our brain is learning continuously. And when we keep resisting and we keep having doubt put on us all the time, like it's easy to adopt some of that. It's actually called social contagion. It's how it works. This healthy lifestyle can be as contagious as anything else. Unhealthy lifestyles are also very contagious. So the potlucks community, you don't even have to come here. You can start your own community, but I just want to make sure that no one underestimates the value of community and getting together with people who are doing what you're doing and can support you in doing it and can also hold you accountable if that's what you need in an informal, very friendly way. And we all think it's a critical component. That's why Dr. Weiss is so supportive of having this potlucks on the farm. I mean, in the wintertime, he makes sure everything is all plowed for us, and we have the house to use, full access to the house, and we get to sit out on the lawns in the summer. It's just a beautiful place, and it's really wonderful that we get to do it here and with so many people. I mean, thank you all for raising your hands, because it's great to see all of our potluck friends that we get together with monthly here helping each other.
And for those of you who do not know Anthony, okay, how many of us are from Morris County? Yeah? So Morris County was the home of George Washington, right? So I consider Anthony to be the George Washington of our community efforts. See, he is single-handedly and works night and day to bring the community together through all of his platforms ceaselessly, tirelessly. And you've in large measure brought the community here, and I thank you for that.
Thank you.
Sarah, did you want to say something?
No.
I'm going to do that now.
Well, he has all the names and everything. He's going to do that later.
Oh, okay. Okay, that's fine. But the last thing, as long as no one else has any concluding words, I just wanted to say a really heartfelt thank you to everyone who came out today, because everyone kind of touched upon how the role of the individual is so important. And just piggybacking off of Anthony's point about community, there's this paradigm shift that's occurring right now. And the fact that you're here and you're learning and perhaps implementing this in your own life means that you're part of changing the world, because this is truly a world-changing thing. And that's why, hats off to Dr. Weiss for this revolutionary model, this farm-based medical practice, because not only are we helping heal our health, but we're also helping to create a sustainable way of living and saving the environment while we do it. And every single one of you is part of that movement. So I wanted to say thank you to you all for doing that. So give yourselves a warm round of applause.
Thank you, Sarah. She's going to make some physician, huh? Yeah. System like this, because we consider it a new healthcare system. It's not just the doctor's practice. It's all of the stuff you heard about. It's a systematic approach to making people and the planet well. We have our Ethos Primary Care Office. We see patients of all ages, from before a baby is born to supercentenarians. And we take care of them wholly and every aspect of care they need. I think we have a table if you're interested. Kim, she's waving in the back, and our staff will answer any questions you might have. In case you're wondering how you can, if you're ever tired of cooking for some reason and you need a fast, delicious meal, we've recently partnered with a wonderful company called Mama Says, and they now carry our Dr. Weiss approved meals. They are fresh prepared, whole plant food meals, no salt, oil, or sugar, delivered to your door, fresh, within a couple of days of ordering, all across the nation, okay? And I think Meg, the founder of Mama Says, is in our farm stand. If you want to give that a try, if you use a special code, Weiss Class, you will get a complimentary one of our Year of Mindful Living classes that Asha designed as a bonus to your meals. Okay, the coupon codes are on the table. Of course, we have our beautiful farm stand, for which our farmers work very hard to grow the best vegetables and fruits in the world. And we invite you to more farm days like this. Okay, we will have, I see Joel Furman standing next to us. We have another 5 coming up, one each month, with just as spectacular speakers for each one. Thank you so much for coming.